I thought
Hi.
we were telling you when we were ready, not when you were ready.
Well, I'm ready, and therefore, hi everyone. Welcome to Beer Protocol. Hmm.
Guys, are we
What's
good at this?
I'm
what are
James.
you? No, we're terrible at this.
We're horrible at
Oh,
this.
okay.
Why is everyone watching us? I'm James. I'm drinking a smoothie.
Hi, this is Jacob. I was not involved with the making of today's content. Please don't yell at me. Nope, I'm here to assist as always. Today I am drinking the Precious.
The precious.
Inside this glass, I have my new favorite whiskey. It's so good, I am hesitant to even open the bottle, and I am constantly back and forth going, should I drink more of it? Will I want it later? This
To
is
be fair,
old.
oh sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I had to actually convince him to drink it today for the podcast so you can share
Oh, which
his
whiskey is it?
excitement.
This is Old Pulteney, a sea-aged whiskey,
Interesting.
There's
aged in casks and then bobbed off of the Scottish shore.
Yeah, so what it does is it's set up to age at sea in the casks.
So,
So normally when whiskey sits in a cask, it sits steady, doesn't move, and it just ages for years.
uh-huh.
At sea, as the sea moves and bobs, the whiskey shifts in the barrel. So it actually gets exposed to more of the barrel. So you get more of the wood flavor, more of the char flavor. It mellows it out a little bit, and a lot of times you'll get like a not saltiness and like an odd flavor, but like a salty bitterness to it, which really even rounds it out.
So, so I'm guessing the salt water soaks into the barrel, and that
Yep.
A
also
little
gives
bit.
it the flavor. Okay, because
There's
I was like, why wouldn't
Yep.
they just put on like a rotating thing that just kind of does this?
No,
uh,
some of the salt water gets absorbed in from the humidity, from the air. So it's a different environment.
Hmm.
I think you get a little bit less lost at the angel share
yeah,
as well.
it's
And
so
mermaid.
smooth,
No, I will not
so
touch it. He
smooth.
is very excited about this. I will not touch this whiskey
Okay,
It's so
just out of
smooth.
respect.
It's so smooth.
it's just so smooth, James. It doesn't need water. No water should touch this whiskey.
Like even ice.
Nothing.
No,
It needs
nothing.
nothing.
Ooh, I might have to pick some up. All right. Who are you?
I'm Matt. I was heavily involved in making this list. I actually made the base of it, and I'm proud of myself for that.
He
Damn it.
did.
And I decided to whip out my inner basic and drink a White Claw.
Woohoo! Well, gentlemen, cheers. Tink.
Tink.
Cheers. The last time I had a White Claw, I was golfing with my brothers and my dad, and they all immediately made fun of me when I pulled it out of the little cooler. And like, oh, hey, hey, it's a White Claw. How you doing? There must have been some commercial or something for White Claw.
Oh,
Jokes on them. I had an upset stomach, and I was hiccuping a lot, and it both got me slightly buzzed and helped settle my stomach.
okay
uh,
then.
I
That's good to
I
know.
just own the fact that I have an inner basic bitch and I like White Claw. So
I've never had a White Claw because I drink real alcohol. So let us
I think
Do
talk
you
he's in the
hear
about.
me,
fridge.
family members? Do you hear me? I have the last laugh.
Do they have a podcast? No. So let's talk
So,
about
on to Cabal, the
Cabal.
faction epitomized by having the last laugh and ranting about basic White Claw alcohol drinks in an abandoned parking lot somewhere.
What? Why does that have to be abandoned? All right, so
It,
we actually made this list.
Yes, we
it's
did. Me and
delicious.
you did.
So let's
I'm
give.
here to learn.
You were here to learn, so sit back and shut up.
Yeah, you teach me what I did wrong.
Yeah. Wait. So all right, we picked three secures. We picked Gamma Wave because it's Gamma Wave and it's always really good. We picked Demons Downtown. And we picked Infinity Formula Goes Missing. So we have a good range of 15 to 19 points. Pretty much all of the secures will be Red Skull, except for possibly Gamma Wave, which could use Sin's ability to just, after everything's done, kick them off points and have them take damage later. But most of it is going to be Red Skull. And for the extracts, was mostly Matt. He chose mutant extremist targets U.S. Senator, deadly legacy virus cured, and the Montesti formula found because having an extra magical blast is awesome. So it gives us total gives us a range of 14 and 19. 14 is a little difficult for this list, but it becomes very, very, very powerful. So Matt, who do we choose for the main villains?
The main good guys
I
are
was
Red
gonna say, who
Skull.
are villains?
We chose Red Skull for obvious reasons. Sin for other obvious reasons.
Yep.
Sabretooth, as our main damage dealer, pairs very well with Red Skull
So
in terms of keeping all the attacks going.
let's talk about Sabretooth real quick. Because
Yeah, how
I did
awesome
not
he is.
I did not have Sabretooth in my list when we were building this.
I saw Sabretooth on here, and I did want to ask about him.
So
Matt, pitch us on the furry cosplayer.
yeah, why did we
Oh.
take him over? Why did we take him over Crossbones?
Wait, hold on. I have to pull it up because I don't remember all the words.
Hey, hang on a second. You guys didn't take Crossbones?
No, I don't
With
like
all of the
Crossbones.
synergy he has with Sin?
I know, and it was so difficult. Believe me, like it was.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm gonna
like,
help you. You have Black. Okay, I'm looking at more of this list in detail. You have
Mhm.
Black Cat. There had better be an explanation for why you took Black Cat
Oh,
and not Crossbones.
So
It was
so
pretty.
Anyway,
weird.
carry on.
All right, so Sabretooth I enjoyed because you can easily get up to four energy per turn, especially fighting with Red Skull, which then gives him Savage Predator. After Savage Predator, as long as you get the simples, you get to make a claw slash attack. With the claw slash attack, you can often get 4 power again, which could then give you Savage Predator, which then gives you claw slash attack. With the claw slash attack, it's very easy to get bleed and pierce. On top of that, so you can actually get 4 attacks per turn
So
with Sabretooth.
what was his movement?
Long with 6 health, only 4 threat, average defenses. The claw slash is 5 attack at range 2. Savage Predator is 7 attack at range 2. He's got healing factor 1. He's also aggressive, so after he's been hit, he can move a short towards the attacking character. He's also got Untamed Force.
Yeah, he's
Oh, that's right.
literal
And then,
beast.
after an attack against him is resolved, he can immediately, for paying 2 power, make a claw slash attack against the attacker against him. And then he's also got no mercy, so he could pay 3 to add 1 die to its attack roll for each damage the target has taken so far, to a maximum of 3.
So on top of all that, I was just like, we should just take Crossbones. Why don't we take Crossbones? Crossbones works great with Sin. We made he started basically like, well, okay, we put Sabretooth in there. I was like, let's look how Sabretooth would go with all these, like the secures, because we're probably going to bring Red Skull with secures. We'll bring in Sabretooth, and we'll bring in Baron Zemo, because Baron Zemo has to be in this list because Baron Zemo is amazing. So
Baron Zemo's. I feel Baron Zemo is good, but he's been kind of overshadowed. Baron Zemo has a lot more competition now for the 3 threat slot than he did when the core set came out. So I don't think Baron Zemo's an auto include.
So
but I'm willing to hear you out.
It didn't actually become an auto include. I put him in my list because I like Baron Zemo and his synergy of giving people rerolls. We started working out, okay, what would happen on turn 1? How do we do this? How do we do this? We actually started working out, okay, if Zemo runs forward, sets himself up, and Sabretooth joins him, Sabretooth wins. It just turned out to Sabretooth always won. Getting an extra a reroll, possibly an extra die. Sabretooth just became even more of a monster. And Sabretooth is also in affiliation.
Yeah,
So,
Sabretooth is an affiliation, which is nice.
2 long runs beat out Crossbones' ability to teleport after a hit, and it didn't really cost him anything. The more we kept looking at it with, say, like Gamma Wave and Demons Downtown, he just kind of, like, the gears just kind of clicked together, and it just started working. So, yeah, he did more damage output in scenarios than Crossbones, and he got there quicker. Plus, the healing factor 1 over Crossbones just -1. It was kind of like a weight thing, and we were like, okay, yeah, but you'll use his power to do other things, and his healing factor just always works. So that's kind of like the reasoning behind Sabretooth over Crossbones.
Okay. So, having looked a little bit further, I will now continue to challenge you on the spot. I agree.
Mhm.
I think Sabretooth and Baron Zemo sounds like a fun combo. Kudos to you guys. That should be good for clearing lots of secure objectives, give you a solid mobile 2-man synergy.
Mm-hmm.
Why Black Cat?
Hold
Well,
up. Let's pull it up.
Let's while you're pulling it up, let's go through. So Baron Zemo's in there for also the
Oh
secures.
yeah, I'm assuming you have the list on the screen when
Yes.
when this goes live.
Yeah, it's right. It's over there. So Enchantress is for the extracts, working with Sin and just stealing stuff. Viper is kind of like the like we discussed in our last episode.
She's a multifunctional. She can kind of fill a couple different roles and force your opponent to answer questions quicker than they can ask them.
Yeah, she became the all around 3-point slot in for just everything. So we
I need
kind
a
of like,
pain in the ass.
yeah, I need a pain in the ass. Boom, here's Viper. And then Kingpin, to do a
sit here and not move.
Yeah, basically, hey, Red Skull needs somebody to pass off damage to. Here you go, Kingpin. So Kingpin and him sitting on the objective and just basically just being like cool, and then basically Kingpin bursts forward and starts hitting things for massive damage. Plus, he's also got a beam attack. It's kind of short, but it's still good. Now,
It is a beam.
The non-affiliated characters that we chose. Let's talk about Okoye first, because we're going to get back to Black Cat. Okoye is there as like the kind of the defensive, like she just is an all-around awesome character. And Toad to basically just do extracts if we need a 2-point slot.
Yeah, we understand that you have a fetish for Toad. It's okay. I've forgiven you for that.
I totally
we
do.
don't need to discuss it further.
It's my thing about
I
frogs.
love him. I love him.
Hey, look, it's a frog.
All right. Hey, look, a frog. Until we actually have Frog Thor, he is the only representation of the frogs in this game.
So let's talk about Black Cat.
I don't remember why you wanted to bring her, I'll be honest. This is on you.
So
As I've looked at Black Cat's card summary, and James, for one more threat, you can take Enchantress, right?
We have Enchantress
her in there already.
Enchantress.
I know. So in what universe do you take Black Cat and then not just pay one more threat to take Enchantress?
Have you not seen the meme of why not both?
Yeah,
7
you're
points
super invested in putting squishy characters next to your enemies' characters.
7 points to have just Enchantress moving people around and stealing shit, and then Black Cat going in just stealing shit. It's a good.
Sounds funny.
It sounds like a good combo to me. I think
so. Can I give a counter argument real quick?
You can,
and then I'll let you answer my points. Black Cat is super straightforward. She looks real neat, but she's not capable of dealing significant amounts of damage. So right off the bat, she's a utility.
But she's not supposed to be dealing significant amounts of damage.
Oh, I'll get there. She's a utility piece at 3 threat. Her main utility is Master Cat Burglar and Stealth, being able to grab stuff people have and then run away with it with her long move. Also, Bad Luck will prevent enemies from modifying their attack dice to hurt her, so she's got a solid defensive ability.
I think she's also got Stealth.
She can also give Stagger relatively easily, which is super, super good. Strong Disabler. However, so Enchantress already does the stealing of items. Enchantress is a solid midline bruiser, and Enchantress has non-physical attacks, which all Black Hat has is physical.
Yes.
So my thought for Black Cat in this particular setup, well, you could have two people. I don't know why I'm holding it for two people to go from different angles and steal things. This is a case where I would absolutely suggest playing more games, and playtesting it. But I don't think that you need that much asset stealing. That's doubling down on what's already a good effect, but I don't think it's going to turn that much, because in order for an enemy to get assets, once people pick them up, is to knock out your characters.
I believe that actually the reason we took Black Cat was if we couldn't take Enchantress for some reason, we needed more bodies on the team.
No, I
because
think
the combination of Black Cat plus Toad makes it so Black Cat can take it from the enemy, Toad takes it from her, and can go do what she needs to do with it at that point.
it's
but-
been a while since we made this list, but I think also we were throwing Black Cat in with Red Skull. So we have a bruiser list, but we have a 3-point to basically if they did like Wakanda herbs, or somebody did an extract that we had to take care of, like hammers, or
So real
something
quick,
worthy.
I could very much be wrong on this one, but I don't
I think she can also take
know
civilians.
if you can use a steal effect like Master Cat Burglar or Enchantress's effect to take Wakandan herbs.
Is it considered an asset?
It's an asset.
It is an asset, but I think the rules actually state you can't pick up the other team's asset for Wakandan herbs in this scenario. I'd have to double check.
You can steal it.
Mystic Watonic Herbs.
I think you
So-
still steal it.
Let's see. Players whereas a character holding an herb cannot perform more than one move action per turn. Also adds 1 die to physical attack rolls and has immunity to slow and stagger. I don't see anything on the card that says you can't.
You
Herbs
can't
plays.
So
pick
the
up
rule
somebody
says
else's herb.
interact herb, pick up your herb.
Yes.
That would absolutely be something we would need to check game errata and questions about. So, so this scenario came out before stealing abilities were a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you would knock out your opponent's model, and it would fall on the ground, and then you couldn't pick it up because you could only pick up your team's herb.
Correct.
So now, with this ability to move the token directly from one person to another, I could see that going either way, but that's a really important thing to have clarified before you count on it.
So I think also when we threw Black Cat in there, I do believe we were actually thinking about Red Skull, and having somebody be able to counter the common extracts that we've been seeing on the tables, like the Montesti formula. That's a pretty big one. A lot of people take. And any of the the hammer ones, the pick up the I can't think of the other one. But yeah, there's another one, and I think Black Cat can steal civilians. I think
Yes, she can.
I think it's the other reason we took her.
Enchantress not.
I don't believe so.
I think Enchantress just steals assets.
Yeah. No. She can steal civilians as well.
Take civilians.
So I think we had her in there to kind of like be an offset. Now, if
to
it's
save a point if needed.
if that's the case, and we are looking at it and going, okay, cool, we could throw somebody else in there for the 3-point slot. I have no problem throwing somebody else into the slot for a Black Cat. It would just have to be
putting crossbones.
that is an optional. Let's toss in crossbones instead of Black
Even
Cat.
Jake agrees.
That was my main thrust of my argument. Was I really feel like you're missing a solid, durable, relatively cheap contender by not having crossbones with Sin.
I mean,
because then you can shift up the tactics cards and get a lot of flexibility.
Well, I do have to say, when me and you made the list, and we were trying to figure out if we needed crossbones or not, and we were pretending we were building lists for our own scenarios, we never once went and tried to make a list with Sin, because Red Skull worked better every time.
Yeah, I think we thought of one instance in which we were like, yeah, we take Sin. And then
But-
that it was really more of the 14 point lists that we were like, yeah, well, let's take Sin, get the extra point, and put it somewhere else.
But even then, we still even went. I think I'd rather have Red Skull.
Yeah, I mean, really, Sin did come down to, can we play Sin, and is it make more sense than Red Skull? And a lot of the times it was like, no, this doesn't make more sense. Let's go ahead and use Red Skull.
Yeah,
No,
it
I
was-
think part of the thing with me and Black Cat as well. And I mean, Black Cat's not a bad model at all, but I think many of the affiliations have duplication of effects and roles and abilities, but spread across multiple affiliations. I think Black Cat has that interesting thieving ability, but she also can be in Web Warriors and maybe Spider Foes. I'll have to check.
She's in
But at least
Spider
Web
Foes.
Warriors.
She's in
Black
Spider
Cat
Foes.
is. Black Cat doesn't have anything listed on the database.
Probably because she's still upcoming.
Yeah, I believe
Got it.
Okay.
she's Spider Foes though. But yeah,
Well, can she be Web Warriors?
I don't
Anyway,
think she can be
irrelevant.
weapon- Anyway, yeah,
My point being is I think she gives that option to those affiliations. Cabal already has that option with Enchantress.
Okay.
So it'd be kind of like spending build points to take things that your faction already has.
All right.
That's
not a bad idea.
the duplication is where I'm not necessarily seeing more benefit.
I'd say-
Especially since
I think we took Black Cat for the same reason of why we were trying to convince ourselves to take Sin instead of Red Skull was to save the
Mhm.
point.
Yeah.
Because Black Cat has that similar feel we wanted for that extra point for the cheaper ones, and that's where we're making the adjustment to make the points better.
And-
Because we couldn't justify changing Red Skull, but we could justify changing Enchantress.
Yeah.
my other point is you guys just have a lot of physical attacks on the team. Not quite as bad as Brotherhood of Mutants,
Mhm.
but you have a lot of physical attacks. So any team with high physical defense or just carnage is probably going to be an not insurmountable, but a big beefy wall against you guys. You're going to want multiple options where you can. Like Montesi formula helps get around that.
Yep.
Like if carnage is on the table, please, for the love of God, try to play Montesi formula.
Yes. So that was the other problem we can't. But the thing is Cabal does not have a lot of good energy attacks, and that could also be another call for Black Cat being replaced by somebody who's a 3-point that does have a primary energy attack. So
Well, I mean,
Okoye's there
Enchantress is
kinda
all
does
about
it.
them mystics.
I think Okoye has
Oh.
the energy blast,
And then Red Skull has energy as well.
and so does Kingpin. Kingpin has the beam.
Yeah.
But he's mostly physical too. So it is kind of difficult. I really wanted to bring MODOK in here for that too, but it just
It started to get too many beefy characters.
it started becoming too many beefy
Oh.
characters.
A question for you, gentlemen.
Yes, an
Oh,
answer
Have
for
you
no,
you.
I don't-
considered?
I don't like
Have-
questions.
Have you considered someone of a more sinister nature?
What, like Ultron?
Oh god.
No, like
I had
Mr. Sinister.
so I didn't look
We
at
did
Sinister's
briefly,
card.
actually.
I think we looked at briefly at him, and
There's a lot of rules.
yeah, I think without us actually digging into the card and digging into the character because he is pretty new, I think we looked at it and went, "That's a lot of text. I don't want to think about that much. Let's go ahead and just throw Black Cat in there."
Yeah, Mr. Sinister has the amount of rules that a 6 or 5 threat character would have, but he's a 4 threat character.
Yeah.
I think he's even got tactics cards specifically for him. But he is Cabal.
He is Cabal.
He has no physical. He has basic energy and 2 mystic attacks.
I think the basic one of the reasons we actually decided not to is because he was another 4 threat character in our sea of 4 threat characters, and we needed a 3.
Now,
I mean,
what I will point out though is you have a 14 and 15, but otherwise you're 17 and 19. And taking bodies can be pretty strong. But if you have 2 19-point scenarios, you might need actual higher cost bodies to fill out the roster that can throw their weight around at that point level.
yeah, and that's the thing is though is at that point taking out Black Cat and putting in MODOK would probably be a good
MODOK
idea.
might be a good choice just for the beef.
But I mean, at that point, also, it's just kind of like, it. I don't know. I think we're trying to play to the strength of Cabal and not try to cover everything.
Well,
I mean, and the thing is that Black Cat slot, that 3-point slot, as you notice, there's like right beneath there's just a bunch of 2s because it was that non-affiliated 3-point slot that we were just kind of bouncing around about and just being like, what can we add in? Because Cabal is just so many 4-point characters, and
Yep.
it was like, I would like to reevaluate Sinister when we actually go through his card because it is a crap ton of text, and I really do want to analyze him a little bit more. But let's talk about team tactics. And this is the team
okay.
tactics we picked for this list. So, like I said, this can change up. Cosmic Invigoration, just because a free activation from Red
Strong.
Skull. Field
It's
dressing.
glorious.
Field dressing because Jake, you convinced me MedPack is not as good as field dressing.
When did I convince you of that?
It was
One
a lot.
night in his dreams about you.
I think Josh and I were playing, and I was just like, man, Jake keeps saying I should take field dressing over MedPack, but I like MedPack. And then I just got completely destroyed because it never came up at that point where I needed MedPack. And I could be like, I could have just had field dressing. If I had field dressing, I could have just So
Wait, back up, James. To clarify, field dressing is spend 4 while within 2 of a day's character to remove their days to give them 1 health. Medpack is spend 2 to get 3 health. I like Medpack.
Oh, maybe we reverse that.
I think you have it backwards.
Maybe. Oh, that's probably because I'm like, I really like field dressing. I really want to make field dressing
Okay,
work.
everyone take a drink.
Oh my god, I'm just messing up cards again. All right, let's skip over that. So it's MedPack.
The
Pay no
sad part
attention to
is,
the
I
field
didn't
dressing.
question you on that. I
So
didn't
here's the
question you
thing.
on that at all.
I didn't. I know. I didn't question myself on it either.
Medpack is a limited card. Field dressing is not.
Yeah. So, I forget. Mission objective is one you threw in.
Yeah, I don't remember why.
Is
Hold
that
on.
the one you can pass off the objective token if you're dazed?
Yeah,
2
it's
to pass. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we threw that in there to have the, I got dazed, and I have this like the hammer Matesi formula, the one I want to keep and just pass off to somebody like Toad or somebody.
the civilian.
Exceptional healing
That was
was
specifically for
Sabretooth.
Sabretooth because we could not justify a list without him.
Yeah, it was also we figured that Sabretooth was going to be the main target. If like people are like, oh, hey, look, there's a Sabretooth on the table, we should kill Sabretooth. Advanced R&D, just to get a little more energy around the field for people who needed it, like Enchantress. Brace for Impact, because you should always have Brace for Impact.
Standard.
And I think the last 2 were just to fill it out, just in case it's a situational thing. Heave Ho, you need to have 2 characters within a object 3, I think it was 3 or smaller.
Yeah. Well, object size 2 or smaller.
Object size 2 or smaller, so like cars. We put it there because we don't have a lot of throws in the list.
True, but it's a tactic card slot for throwing a size 2 piece of terrain.
It is, and it was a
It's
hard call, but we wanted to get a throw in there
exciting.
somewhere. And then Trip Up.
Also,
Trip Up was just
doesn't
fun.
Enchantress have throws?
Yeah, but that was it.
That was it.
If we don't bring Enchantress, I think that's our only throw, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, like Red Skull doesn't have a throw, Sin doesn't have a throw, Zemo doesn't have a throw, Sabretooth doesn't have a throw, Kingpin has a throw, but it's like size 2 within so many inches of them. Okoye and Toad don't have throws. So like we literally had no one doing throws in this entire list.
To be fair, Kingpin is size 3 or less, throw medium, and he can throw characters or terrain.
Yes.
Kingpin actually has one of the just consistently solid throws.
Yeah. If we were going to take out Black Cat and put in MODOK, I would definitely drop Heave Ho and put it in one of MODOK's cards.
I would also almost say, so looking at the cards off the top of my head, um, so if you want to do terrain stuff, almost instead of heave ho, I would say with Sin, especially if you had crossbones, two ash and cinder, where they spend 2 at the start of the activation phase to plant a demo charge, and then during cleanup, blow up everything within 2 of it.
That is not a bad idea. That's also
Like
a
if
good
if
idea
what you really
for.
want is the ability to clear terrain off of a table, or to just do like a big AoE effect. Um, also,
I'm still sitting on the fact that I really won't bring Sin and Crossbones together, and
Yeah,
it takes
in
up a
your
slot for a possibility, to me at least, if I was playing.
well, you don't need. It's not you need them both. It's you can play it with either or. Yeah, I
Ga-
know it's either or for their tactics cards.
so this is
I
our
thought they both needed to be there. Okay,
this
never mind.
is this was our couple hour breakdown of Cabal. Like I said, there's a lot of choices.
All is very broad.
It's so huge. But we were trying to focus on Red Skull for secures, Sin for extracts. We were trying to get like, especially for any of the secures, it would
So,
probably. So this is what we thought when we were like, okay, how would
may
we
I ask
play?
a question?
Well, hold on. Before
Okay.
you keep your hand up, um, before before the game starts, if we were able to get the secure choice, we would bring Red Skull. If we were unable to get the secure choice, we would choose an extract, look at what their secure was, and then decide if we were going to bring Sin. Now, yes, you over there with your blue shirt.
So I have a question. You've mentioned a couple of times you want to bring Red Skull for extracts or for secures and Sin for extracts. That confuses me
Why?
because in this game there is always an extract and always a secure.
Ah,
So can
so
I ask if you mean a different? Can I ask a? May I propose a different question?
yes.
You did clarify a bit better when you said when you get to pick the secures, but even then there's still a random element. So it's difficult to say I'm always going to play Red Skull and I'm always going to pick this secure because there's no guarantee of that. So my question would more be for high threat 17 to 9, 17 plus versus low threat 15 or below. What is your game plan? Because I think the threat might be a bigger determinator,
Oh,
the threat level for
we
the
actually
game.
built this out. So it was I think for like the high end stuff was like Red Skull. The base was Red Skull Sabretooth Zemo. And then kind of figuring out what we would need. So if it was like Demons Downtown or Infinity Formula, it would probably be like it wouldn't be in Kingpin. We throw in like Enchantress or somebody else. But I believe our 14 point is we would start bringing Sin. Because I think
Yeah, for our 14-15 is when we would look to see what the enemies list was in particular.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if they were bringing if they were bringing Wakanda and they're bringing all the people, well then Sin actually worked out well because you're rolling her dice enough. Chances are her stuff will kick in. Whereas, so it would outweigh the benefits of Red Skull. But if they're heavy numbered like we were heavy numbered, Red Skull is still better because we would need the heavy hitters. We would need our heavy hitters.
Like Black Order is still at a 14 point. It's still a strong list.
Yeah.
If we were up against Criminal Syndicate, it seems to be leaning towards Sin, to kind of like get them moved around. Spider foes, that kind of stuff, with the low number of health and just mass amounts of people, like Guardians of the Galaxy. God, they can bring so many people at a 14. Like at that level, we need bodies, and that's when Sin kind of like slotted into that 14, possibly even the 15 slot. and started building off of that.
Okay. I think that might be an easier way to phrase it.
I
But no,
think that's what
fair
we
enough.
decided.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
actually.
I think we actually ran into that same problem when we were doing it. It made
Mhm.
sense to us, but trying to explain it to anyone else, it didn't. So it's when we started building lists on my Excel spreadsheet based off of points to try and build it out a little better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when it comes to Cabal, it's so
Well,
difficult because like
it's very
okay,
dependent on what you're going up against more than the actual scenario itself.
yeah,
That's
it's
what we learned.
yeah. If say we were building like a criminal syndicate list, or even an event like, or I can't use Avengers because Avengers has the same mass amount, like an X-Men list. It's kind of easy to be like, I like this leadership, slot that in. Here are the people you slot in. With Cabal, it became okay, are we going to make this like a Black Order list where we just have super high number of point characters, so like 5 points, 4-point characters, and just bring a Godzilla list? Or you can make it where it's like, cool, I'm at 19 points, I can bring almost my entire 10-man team.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, so yeah, this is the list we came up with.
All right. Well, honestly, like other than a few quibbles with like Black Cat and not having crossbones, some tweaking of the tactics cards, I think is going to give you stronger options. Because I think a crossbones kingpin combo is going to be really strong for areas you need to control.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I think that what you were talking about for using Red Skull to sort of power and enable the other characters and move them forward is going to be great for moving things around. Honestly, good spot on the Sabretooth, Baron Zemo synergies. I want to see this list on the table. We should do some battle reports.
Even better than that,
Yeah.
I just
You can
thought of
teach me how to
something.
play the game again.
If we, I think if Black Cat's in Criminal Syndicate, there's a possibility at a 14-point list being able to use Kingpin, Black Cat, and somebody else, and try to get a Criminal Syndicate slotted into this list also.
Not even remotely what I said.
I know, but when you were saying it, I'm like, would that work? That might work. We might actually make that work. So I have to look at that and see if I can recreate this where it falls into a Criminal Syndicate.
Stay tuned.
I mean, it'd be easy enough because you have Black Cat. You don't actually need Toad. Is there a 2-point Criminal Syndicate you could replace Toad with, or Koye, or
not really? But anyway, this is Cabal, not Criminal Syndicate. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you believe that we missed something, if you're like, no, you should totally use Sinister. You should, I agree. James is right. You should totally use Black Cat. Jake's a liar. Mention it down in the comments.
No,
No, shush.
Jake's just wrong. There's a difference.
No,
So
don't worry. If you just want to go, this list is trash.
This is
Matt
trash.
made it. Remember that, not James.
Go ahead and just tell us in the comments. We would love to get the feedback. We'd love to hear what you guys think. And have a great time playing. All right, game off.
Yeah, bye.
Game off.